Alright, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Allison Cruz, and I'd like to welcome you to a little gem of a game called Dredge. There is a very ominous undercurrent to what's an otherwise fairly peaceful and cozy fishing game. I haven't beaten it or explored any of the DLC yet, so a lot of this project is going to be blind, but I've familiarized myself with just enough of the game to kind of understand what we'll be working towards and how to hopefully not die. So without further ado, let's get started. You know, I gotta say, if I ever found myself shipwrecked out at sea, crashing directly in front of a lighthouse and a bustling coastal town is probably best case scenario for me. I'm not gonna lie. Well, we awaken on the cold, wet dock where we collapsed the night before, where a strange, short, unpleasant old man begins to hobble his way over and try to sell us shitty boat insurance. Welcome to Grey Tomorrow. I must say, quite the dramatic first impression. I see you've already introduced yourself to the jagged rocks along the bay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a comedian. But he's also the mayor, and he clocked us for all our worth. The lighthouse was shining right at us. I guess I deserved it, but as it turns out, we are the fishermen that was employed to feed the town. Unfortunately, our boat was hopelessly damaged, but the locals moved our things to one of their old vessels, which means he's gonna write up a document signing our life rights away, and we'll live out the rest of our days in indentured servitude. So we'll let us catch some fish so we can pay off that debt, but to make sure to get back by sundown before the fog rolls in. It can really creep up on you. Otherwise, very unseemly things will happen. So it's a fairly straightforward movement and camera business. You can like zoom in, adjust the height, catch all manners of angles and angle fish. Starting with this one, you have disturbed water, and most of the time you're going to be doing these mini fishing games where, if you get the gold ones, that is going to be a trophy fish. So you'll definitely want to make sure to stock up on those. But depending on what type of water it is and what kind of rod you have, you might not be able to fish at all of the spots you find. These are coastal waters, and as of now, our only basic fishing pole can only catch in coastal waters. We've got ourselves a lovely floating buoy here. It serves to mark safe passage past dangerous rocks and obscured hazards. Its dim light also provides a brief respite in the gloom of the night. Very nice. So over here we have a certain type of fish that we cannot do anything about because they're in shallow water. So that's a bit unfortunate. We can't really explore too far from here, so we'll just kind of stay a little close. These are pretty good for the price. Eventually we'll come back and purchase and sell some of these cod. Yeah, they take up a lot more space and are very oddly situated. So as far as like fishing minigames go, I actually really do enjoy this. Oh, and time does advance only while you're moving, fishing, or doing other specific actions. These eels we won't be able to get until a little bit later, and we'll grab that message in a bottle at some point in the future. It's not really super important, but it does provide a pretty good amount of lore and backstory. It's just a little dry for me. We'll do some of this, and we should probably make our way back soon. It's not the worst thing to be caught out at night, but it can definitely get a little gnarly early on when we don't have much to our name. Although you do want to keep in mind there are certain fish that will only appear at night, so you will have to venture out eventually. I just want to stay a bit on the safe side and make sure we can sell our fish while it's still fresh. If too much time elapses with them in your inventory, they'll eventually begin to rot. And early on, money is going to be pretty important. So here's hoping I might be able to make something happen. Head on back, where we will be greeted by the mayor. Ah, I see you've returned in one piece. Very good. Before you head off to town, we should discuss the matter of your boat. That's right, we've got ourselves a regular Casanova Tom Nook over here. So he's going to sell us this replacement boat and consider it a loan. But until our debt is repaid, a tiny portion of fish sales will go back towards paying it off and improving the town. So to recap, sell fish at the local market, pay off the debt, and keep the population fed. Sure, sounds good. So sell the fish while they're still fresh at the fishmonger. You enter a squalid shack on the fringe of the marketplace. A familiar smell of fish fills the air. Flies buzz haphazardly around a downcast man behind the counter. Ah, you're the new fisherman. I'm surprised I found a new one so fast. That's a little suspicious. What happened to the other one? It takes a certain type of person last out here. It's not a life for everyone. Alright, now on to business. He pays us for fish. Bigger and fresher means more money. Plus, specific species will also rack up quite the nice little paycheck. Alright, well, generally I do just tend to sell everything all at once. And we managed to adjust our debt only marginally, which is fantastic. God, this guy will not stop following me around. Listen, your rates are terrible. Can you stay away from me, please? Well, he found something by the docks in the form of a research part. Could be used to develop new equipment, but would need some investigation at a dock first. This is incredibly important to leveling up our cargo, our storage, our capabilities, and more. So we definitely want to take that and find as many as we can. Luckily, the local shipwright can make some modifications to our ship. So let's go take a look. As you walk into the yard, you see the shipwright making repairs to a damaged hull. She looks up at you briefly before turning back to her work. Ah, you must be the new fisherman. I can make improvements to your vessel in the yard. Oh, that's really nice. We will be going to her a lot. But anytime we try to get something installed, it takes a little bit of time, usually a few hours. And if you take any damage or if some of your equipment becomes worn down, you can pay to get it all fixed up, and it's fairly straightforward. So a number of wooden boards all well above the waterline are splintered and scratched. The bigger the equipment, the longer it takes to install. As it stands, we won't be able to afford much for now. We have a weighted line that will allow us to catch fish in shallow waters, but you have to keep in mind you can only install these on their respective parts. You have lights, you have engines, and eventually you'll have nets, and you'll have to adjust these accordingly. But as it stands, I'm not gonna spend $75 for a simple skimmer when the weighted line would be even more functional. So, and there's also other upgrades we can get. I would definitely put some emphasis on the engines as well. The Peculiar engine is actually better than the ones she sells because these ones go 14 knots, these only go 10. Eventually we'll get trawl nets, and we have lights, which will be really important for later. We have over $100. I think I'm gonna wait just a little bit, and let's go and take a look at our research. So we can use one of these parts to try to get something here. I almost feel like the flexible fishing pole would be worth having right now. This would be 15 knots, which isn't bad. The only issue is you do need to purchase these after you use the points on them. So this would actually be a good upgrade. I think I'll go for this. Hopefully we'll find another research part soon so we can purchase it, and eventually we'll have other types of places that we can, fish down under. But you do have to unlock all of the prerequisites in order to have these available later, so this one seems to be the best. So we'll probably end up saving for that at some point, but engines are going to be a must. We still have a little bit of daytime, so I'm gonna go back out and try not to go too far because, like I said, a couple of fish will become available only at night, and, well, we won't stray too far, but squids! Really nice. Thank you. I will appreciate those arrow squids for days. And they're not very common, but... Oh, there's still one more. Ooh, there we go. The trophy. Yeah. Since we don't have a lot of light, it's going to be a little hard to justify going back out there. So we'll sell it back, and then we can rest. Also, you'll notice the eye. This is the mechanic known as panic. Bright lights and sleeping will reduce it, but if it gets too erratic, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. I'm not going to spoil too much on what it does just yet, but it's very painful. So we'll go and sell all that, $50. And, oh, you know, shoot. I'm actually going to possibly consider, maybe I should just get this now. Because I can sell it later, but getting shallow fish is going to be good for getting us more money. 150 versus the 100 for the extra. Yeah, you know, I think I will take that. So it's going to take 3 hours to install, which is fine, because usually I'll be up around this time anyways. Let's go and rest up. And yeah, 3 o'clock is probably fine. We have $21 left to pay off. If we speak to the mayor, we can actually pay this off directly. I don't think I even have enough for that, so sure, $10. There you go. I'm glad I woke you up at this god-awful hour to go ahead and do that. But we should be okay after that. So with that now in mind, we can venture out here, and because we're so slow, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. But I am going to be very careful. Oh, can I get this? I think these... What are these? Are these... Oh! Interesting. I think you're black flounder? No, groupers. Yeah, so you're quite a large specimen, aren't you? Okay. Well, I guess you must only appear at night. I was hoping for more squid. But we'll stay kind of on this side. Over there is Little Marrow instead of Great Marrow. And there's a trader over there who isn't the most helpful person, but we'll talk to him a little bit later. So then we're just gonna stick on over here, grab a message in a bottle a little bit later, and just try to get our funds up a bit, you know? In the lexicon of fishing games, this is probably one of the stronger ones in my opinion. I'm talking like Stardew Valley and other ones that are coming to mind, but it's just, ooh, we can get this one, nice. Be careful for that one, that one's weird. So we have a gray eel and trophy. Thank you. But yeah, it's fairly easy, and once we get a crane to dredge things up like materials, that's where things get a little more hectic, but let me see if I can even do this. There we go. This is a great investment. We can adjust some things here. I think if we just do this, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of inventory management in this project as well, so sorry if you hear the clicky clacky of my controller just go crazy sometimes. A lot of these fishing spots, when they become depleted, you will have to leave for a little while before they're replenished. So make sure to keep that in mind. But we're on day 2, which is pretty nice, pretty good. Not bad for a second day's haul. And if we're lucky, the fishmonger will have a special order for us. So they want 1 gulf flounder and 1 gray eel, which luckily for us, we have that. Perfect. I was not expecting that so soon, but unfortunately that does take away from our money pool a bit. But it still gives us $50 for it, so that's nice. You should be pleased with these. And another order. Some squid and a whole... Man, you're taking everything from me. Well, squid only feed at night, and they're actually pretty nice to sell because they're as big as the blue mackerels, but worth so much more, so... I guess I'll go throw you right there and probably just sell the rest. So let's see how much we get out of that. Not bad, $60. We are looking pretty here, and I think 69 cents. Can you just look inside your heart and just, you know, let me go? There you are. Fantastic. Now what else can I do for you? You might want to tell me what happened to the last guy you hired. It's like, why is this position available? Well, he was very unreliable. He'd go out at night, come back with no fish, and proceed to sleep all day. He also smelled like a skunk and always had the munchies. It's terrible, Captain. Constantly running aground on the reef, even in broad daylight. Yeah, my man was a stoner for sure. But one evening he left and never came back. So long, he shan't be missed by us. Oh, that's nice. Well, I'll have more conversations with you a little bit later because with our money, I think I am going to go and buy another one of these. I think it's probably going to be worth it, even though it's going to take 2 hours to install. I do want to catch a couple of, oh, creepy old men. You're back. Fantastic news. Thanks partly to your efforts, Great Tomorrow is growing. Our town is sure to be swarming with visitors any day now. In fact, I've granted a consent for the shipwright to expand her facilities. The old dry dock is operational again. This is great because it allows us to upgrade our ship. Plus, he's allocated some money to improve the fishmonger services, which means he might be able to sell us things to help catch different types of sea life. Very nice. Well, I'm going to explore the dry dock when we get back. I don't like staying here for too long. And I'd also like to maybe catch some stuff. But coming back at night, I think that's kind of going to be the play here. We'll stay as close to this bay as possible, and we'll go and catch some more of these. So you could just wait it out if you want, but for the most part, I mean, just catch them up if you can. And if you mess up, it's not a big deal. You'll just have to start over, essentially, but it could take a minute. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we can't really do out here just because we're so slow, but that second engine coming in clutch. This is what I'm looking for. And you know, let's adjust some things here. If I do this, we might be able to come out of this sitting very pretty with another trophy fish. Sheesh. Okay, good. I'm glad at least I was able to fulfill the special order. But now it's getting late. I want to go back. Please. Our lights are on, but to what extent? There's also something shining over there. I don't think I want to go and look. It might have to do with the lighthouse, but I'm not interested. I'm scared. I'm panicking, man. Alright. So, in completing the second special order, I don't actually remember what else he gives us, aside from maybe some reading material, which is going to be ideal. But I hope this is worth it. $83. I didn't think you had it in you. Night fishing is a tall order. Been meaning to talk to you about a new business venture I've been considering. Crab pots. Nice. It's a bit banged up, but of course, it doesn't matter because we can fix it up. So essentially, we leave these in the water, and crabs will slowly make their way in there and find themselves trapped. There are some really nice ones we can get later, but they are pretty high maintenance. So we need a fiddler crab and a common crab. So we can buy a couple of these. I usually only take 1 or 2 at a time and leave them near where I can sell them. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, but I do want to sell all this stuff. Thank you. And let's take a look at the dry dock, shall we? This is the dry dock. We can make significant improvements to your vessel here. Extra space, more attachment points for equipment, and even superior hulls. Yeah. Unfortunately, we do need lumber, metal scraps, and even cloth. And, yeah, how do we find these materials, you ask? Well, they're on the coast from various shipwrecks and dredged up from the ocean floor. Yeah. So if we end up finding a lot of these materials, they are very spacey on your cargo space. So you can drop them off and leave them in each of these spots. So we're going to need lumber, metal scraps, and a bolt of cloth, as well as $95 so that we can get 2 extra rod spaces. And this is going to be very helpful for obvious reasons, but I do think more emphasis should be placed on engine space and then maybe some lights, because it's not looking too great there. And we'll just go ahead and probably sell or repair everything here, namely our basic crab pot. And you're going to, oh man, I am just short on that. I'll come back for that light later. 750 lumens for $80. I don't know. 10-meter range is a little better, but I do want to get the best possible thing just so that I don't waste money on the inferior product. So I'll go and rest on up. Probably till about 3 in the morning. Takes us so long to swim out anyways. Oh, a hunched woman approaches you from the steps to the lighthouse. She stops some distance away and looks at you with concern and visible apprehension. I don't blame her. Why are you here? Well, obviously, I've come to fish. There's nothing here for someone like you anymore. Do yourself a favor and move. I don't know what voice to give her. I wasn't planning on doing voices, but she seems to have a very unusual cadence about her. The mayor has something to say, but I'm not going to worry about that right now because we now have crab pots. And generally what I like to do, deploy it there, call it good. We'll come back to it eventually, and hopefully we find some stuff in there, but you just gotta go ahead and leave it for as long as possible. Yeah, there's nothing gonna be over here. You know, since we left so early and we have our second engine, I'm just gonna use this as an opportunity to try to get out to this house. It's very important we come here because this is where the plot sort of gets, I guess, hijacked for all intents and purposes. And it didn't take us that long, so I'm not too worried. We'll go and make our way down over here. And welcome to Blackstone Isle. We can access our storage here, but of more importance is the workshop. If you don't have a specific key that you have to purchase as DLC, this would be completely unavailable to you, but it's probably not worth it for most people. I think it's what, $5 to access the workshop for some early upgrades that might not be worth it. So with our key, we can enter and we will find horrifying creations amongst the detritus. We have a sign of ruin, which gives us a 5% aberration bonus, but I think that's gonna be good for perhaps here. Let's do that. We'll go install that. And we also have the arterial engine. It increases our speed plus 7 knots, but we won't be able to upgrade it, so, or equip it rather, so. Did I take it? Or did I put it in my storage? I've already taken the equipment. Okay, that's good to know. Now for the main point of interest, the ruined mansion. The door is locked. Huh. Alright, well, I guess we'll come to that a little bit later. It doesn't matter, but I just wanted to grab those items and make that area known. We can also maybe find some other fish out here, but we don't want to stray too far because we might get in trouble. I'm not going to worry about the blue mackerel. They're fairly common. And if you find one of these sort of fishing spots where it looks like there's just like floating boards or something, you won't be able to dredge these up until, well, you get the crane. You can also do this. You know, I will take these ones. These ones seem new. Thank you. Ooh, stingrays. Take up a lot of space though. Gotta find some real creative ways to work around these. If I didn't get that second thing, that's all we got. Well, while we're here, we might as well go and make land to Little Morrow. How's it going? So we have a trader here, and he's pretty insignificant. He will purchase the small trinkets that we find throughout the world, and for the most part, it's just not as feasible to make a fortune doing this, especially with a man who smokes his own finger dust out of his pipe. But do I have anything with us? I feel like I can sell some of these, right? No. Alright, well apparently not. Also, occasionally, some of these places will have some NPCs that will give you side quests. This guy, I'm not sure is very important. Most days it's pretty quiet. The pay is not too great, but the work's straightforward. Sounds familiar. Yeah, so a dock worker that doesn't like going out on the sea. Yeah, that makes sense. I could also potentially throw some of this stuff into my storage, but I feel like the seafood, it gets rotted so much faster if you put them here. So let me see if that works. I'll make my way back, but we'll see. I fished that up pretty early, so we'll see how terrible it is in transfer. Here we are. Oh, this is gonna be terrible, isn't it? Yeah, nice and cozy fishing. Let's make sure we get back before it's too late. And maybe we'll take a look at our crab pot. You know, this will actually work too. Some of these. Thank you. We have plenty of space. And these are actually one of the more amenable types of fish configurations, just because they can wrap around. Oh, we're still doing fine on time. I'm not too worried. But I do want to get back before things get spoiled. Yeah, getting stuff that's a little bit farther away while the rest of the fishing spots replenish, I think is a fine idea. But he was looking for a fiddler and a common crab. So maybe I'll move this when I need to repair it. Nope, got nothing. Sounds about right. You usually have to wait pretty long. But if I sell everything here... Oh, it's still fresh. Okay. Well, I guess I would have to just do that. So, not a bad haul of cash right now. Let's go and take a look at the shipwright. And I'm gonna wait on getting that double fishing rod that we already invested some research parts into. And instead, we're gonna put on some cloudy lens. And should we head back out there for just a moment? Let's try it. We're gonna wanna save up as much money as we can possibly muster. But going out just a little bit at night for some of those dancing squid. So long as we don't get too crazy, we should be all right. Now, let me grab some more of you. Glad you're back. Just keep an eye on your panic because things might end up a little suspect if you stray too far. And you know, sure, why not? Let's take a look. What is this? The lighthouse towers above. Waves crash endlessly against the perilous rocks below. All creatures, human or otherwise, would have their brittle bodies broken and thrown at its feet. You ponder the intrinsic power of this structure, a vast column of stone shouldering the responsibility of countless lives. How long will it stand? How long until it decays into ruin, its purpose exhausted? The lighthouse towers above. That's heavy. That is pretty deep. Not going to lie. Alright, last chance for any bold fish that want to come out and join me before I get too scared. Before I get too nervous. Alright. That's a bit of a shame. Usually you can go like right outside the mouth and be fine, but this early in the game when we have no resistances, I am a little worried. So we'll pick up the whole thing, take the common crab, get it fixed up, and move it a little aside and see what happens. So I will go ahead and throw on this little crab buddy over there and back to regular business. Oh, here we go. The fishmonger gives us our first book. This will passively increase your abilities to a pretty good extent. I only have one fish to give them. All right, that's a bit of a shame. So we're gonna head to our regular menu here, take a look at our cabin, and this is where you can look at your encyclopedia, your messages, your pursuits, your map, which are all, you know, mapped to the D-pad, and your bookshelf. All you have to do is just kind of have it on, and anytime you're fishing or sailing along, well, you'll be reading, learning something. That's pretty fun. As far as our pursuits are concerned, you can see all of your stuff here. The iron rig and the pale reach, like I mentioned, I have no idea what these entail, but these are our core pursuits, and we will be seeking those out as soon as possible. As far as the shipwright is concerned, oh, and she's gonna give us another book. Well, we can only read one at a time, but it's nice to know that that is what we've got. Here we are. So we can't do anything in the dry dock, so I'm gonna come out here, just go and drop one of these off. Plenty of crabs here. And depending on the depth, that can also kind of determine what kind of fish you catch, because at lower ones you can get things like shrimp and other types of creepy crawlies that you otherwise wouldn't really be able to, where you can get crabs. But some of the later pots are amazing, and so long as you keep them near where you can sell them, it's definitely a good investment. Doesn't look like there's really going to be much for us here, so I'm just going to go and take a quick nap. And sure, let's go and speak to the mayor. Just the person I was hoping to see. Will you be sailing east towards Little Marrow? Would you give this package to the dock worker? I was just there, so thanks. Wish I'd known that sooner. But it's a small damp package bound in string that is dripping. A dock worker will pay you upon delivery. Please be quick about it. I don't want it to spoil. All right. Oh, and we have the compass and map. Cool. So the compass is pretty straightforward. I think, wait a minute. I think the south is the Pale Reach. but we'll get to that a little bit later. I'm just gonna try to head over there as soon as possible. Make sure we switch on over to our lights. We also have a spyglass, which can identify fishing spots, but it's like not super conducive. It's so sensitive. So arrow, squid, and it tells you what kind of rod you need for them, but just in case that's something you might need, I usually just keep it on the lights, and eventually we do get a speed up mechanic, but one that must be used sparingly. It's also the most annoying sound effect in the entire game. Oh, hello. What do we have here? Even more of you? Incredible squid? You know, I will take you. Why not? Since it's so freaking late and pretty safe here, so I like to think so. We'll be going back to the mayor anyway in just a minute, but let's go see what you got. Oh, Mr. Dockworker, I have returned. Let's see. He tears a small hole in the paper and peeks inside. You can't say for sure, but it feels as though he's shielding it from your view. Yeah, nice and fresh. This'll do nicely. I'm to pay you, I suppose. Oh wow, $25. And another old book. Perfect, thank you. Sustainable fishing. Stop by for a chat anytime. I know how lonely it can be. Sure you do. There was another group of fish over there, but I went ahead and just left me. Can I get these ones? Are you the trifolds? The cod? Yes. Please and thank you. They do give you a pretty good amount of money though, so it's unfortunate it is wasted on this weather. I love it when it rains in this game. It's just so cozy. It's so good. We have more fish here. Sure, why not? Might as well. Get a couple of them. I'm sure the fishmonger will be pleased. He's like, oh great, more mackerel. Just what we were looking for. What's the catch of the day, sir? Take a wild guess. Yeah. So I think, let's see, we'll just go ahead and sell all of this. I don't know if the mayor actually even needs any follow-up. Like, he doesn't give a damn. He just wanted me to go and return the thing. Well, at this point, I would say that, we're probably okay to go and explore quite a bit out here. So let's maybe go and snag up one of these bottles and just see what it says. Like I mentioned before, it's mostly just focusing on lore and backstory for the game, and there's just so much of it that it just seems inconsequential at best. So we go and collect it, and we have a diary entry for the 20th of August. So we can read this if you want. Morning of the second day of the honeymoon and our first day proper. I think this does detail the exploits of the previous captain a little bit, but I don't know. We'll take a look at some of them. I just don't think it's really worth our time right now. And eventually, I think the game will sort of tell us to go over to Blackstone again, which I will be more than happy to do. But first, we'll go this way. Let's waste our day a little bit. Hope we can catch some more crabs. Fiddlers are a little more fiddly to catch. But behind Little Marrow, there's actually quite a few things that we can grab too. The reason why you want to go to Blackstone is that's where we get our dredging grain. So until we get that, it's not really worth exploring much out here. And let's go and take a look one more time at our messages. The next day, we had a slight accident yesterday around the shallows at the back of Greater Marrow. Or is it Marrow? I keep probably switching the pronunciation on that, which I'm sorry for. But we'll grab a couple of fish too, just so that we don't come back empty-handed. Here we go. Snag on up. Some of the, these are blue, yeah, I was gonna say the wrong thing every single time. Some of these fish names are pretty standard, pretty common, but there's other types that are a little more demented, and eventually when we start catching those, that's where the descriptions get interesting. It's getting a little late, so let's go and make our way back. And you can see in the crab pots, when the lights are flashing, it'll indicate to you that, hey, I got something over here. So that's good. Since we're still going to be around these parts for a little while longer, I'm actually just going to go and take what's inside. Damn. All right, well, let's go take that and sell them on up. We should hopefully be all right too, but yeah, nope, no crabs. Sorry. But I will sell them for a whopping $5. So I think I have mentioned the fresher and more trophy-esque these fish are, the better off you'll be for selling them cash-wise. $430 is not bad. I'm like slightly annoyed that we haven't found any other research parts yet, but you can see that she's already upgraded her stash, so now she has another rusty engine. But eventually she'll start getting more stuff, and she'll also be able to sell you research parts too. So that's fun. Yeah, let's go take a nap. Unfortunately, you cannot redistribute or respec your research parts, so might not really be worth it to invest in that for now, but I wonder, do I need to go around the backside of one of these islands? Because if I do, well, shit, I've already kind of gone this way. Let's go over here. Let's go this way. This one we can kind of cut alongside the back. Got some very antsy fish here. But like I said, if you can't dredge, it's hard to justify exploring too much. Oh, a tusked grouper, you say? Pig-like tusks protrude from the mouth of this ravenous brute. With no eyes to speak of, it attacks indiscriminately. That's weird. That's a little suspicious. Don't think I like that. Not in the slightest, my friends. Ooh, we'll grab more of these. Oh, and there's a shipwreck that someone was talking about. That's where we can probably get another research part. Whoops, I goofed. Oh, but I finished, it's because I was reading. I was multitasking, of course. Yeah, this one's kind of a weird one. Man, I need a lot of those. Whoops, here we are. Well, fortunately, that's all been depleted. Let's go and take a look. There's usually some very good things that you can find in these old husks and shipwrecks. Namely, that's what I was looking for. We can also get some of these things as trinkets. Not worth it, in my opinion. And sadly, I'm gonna have to just get rid of these. I think I just want to make the one trip out here, so we'll do this. We'll do some of these. Eventually sell this stuff. The citrine ring. And hopefully we can go through with a fishmonger side mission, because he's eventually going to want the demented fish we just found. And when he does, he's actually going to close the doors on us for a little while. So if I can get that done right away, that would be ideal. But just looking at the time, I don't think we're gonna make it in this episode, unfortunately. I want to try to make these reasonably length, because for as much as I played this game, I sunk in a lot of hours and I feel like I did not put much of a dent in it. So we'll see. What is it today? Oh, we hand the grotesque fish to the fishmonger. He grins, raising the fish up to his face before inhaling a deep, stuttering sigh. Now, this is the sort of specimen to live in up in my day, but I wonder... I just completely butchered that. He runs his fingers firmly along the length of the fish, as though feeling for something. He pushes from one side of its stomach, and a small shape can be seen against the bulging scales. He slices it open. From its stomach, he pulls a small piece of fabric and spreads it on the counter. It's a delicately patterned handkerchief. Oh, that is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you for that. So we'll find more corrupted fish, but as it stands, I'll just go and sell you the rest. And let's go and apparently find ourselves being watched. I know what you took to the fishmonger. And I'll be clear. I know he extracted an artifact with it. I need to inspect it, but not here. Meet me on Blackstone Isle. Head out of this bay and cut south. I have a business proposition that you'll want to hear. We'll speak of the devil. That must happen on day 5. Like, we can't really do that any faster, I would think. Well, before we end things off, let's get the flexible fishing pole so that we can unlock not only heat-resistant line, which isn't going to be worth it for us at any point, neither would the anti-tangle line. The mangrove sort of waters are pretty far off, but I think I would be probably more likely to get the hydraulic rod first, or maybe even some engines. Some of these are really nice. But I would like to purchase right here for $460 freaking dollars. Are you joking? God, that's expensive. All right, let's go and do that. And I guess we can probably just sell the basic fishing pole. Keep in mind that you actually can't sell the peculiar engine, and I think that's the only one you cannot. So we are now able to fish a lot faster, and we can eventually get rid of the weighted line in favor of something a little better. I'm gonna also head to the dry dock and drop these lumbers off. I'm trying to decide what I'd like. Light space would be nice, but maybe more rod stuff. We can also hold nets. Nets are actually a really good way of also passively getting a lot of good stuff. So we're gonna need some cloth for that, or whatever it is. Let me see. Yeah, just bolts of cloth apparently. And let's also just throw on, yeah, we'll do some engine space too. Why not? And you can see where your space is gonna be allocated. So if you have engines built there, you won't be able to use it for fish. So very interesting conundrums are had here, but with that having been said and done, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Allison. Thank you all so much for joining me here in the maiden voyage of Dredge. I'm gonna go probably read something on engine speed, and eventually we'll get that, but next time we head off to Blackstone Isle and we see what this mysterious character is all about. I hope you guys enjoyed it, because it truly only gets better from here, and it's so good. Oh my god. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.